try to break it loose here with the breaker bar. Got my harmonic balancer here exposed. I took out my starter. So everything is good to go. Either the engine really seized up, or that torque converter is gone. One of the two. So let me keep working on this. Let me see if I can get it. See if I can get it to spin. So we took off the harmonic balancer, the starter's out. I'm going to take off those inverted torques just so I can gain some access. I'll have to remove that belt tensioner. I mean, I'm not going to try to remove everything that's unnecessary to remove, but I just need to gain access to that whole timing belt thing. I got to break this sucker loose. I got to figure out what the heck is going on. Got Alonso here to start removing the oil pan. So that's what he's doing. He's already got the oil pan bolts out, which are E-Torques. And he's working right now on removing the catalytic converter downpipe. So he just needs to take down that downpipe just to gain access to the oil pan. We're going to remove the oil pan, and we're going to look at what kind of damage we got going on as to this engine not wanting to spin. Definitely use lubricants, PB Blaster if needed. Let me go ahead and help this guy out here really quick. Hey guys, so this is kind of like my day 2 here. Remember, we dropped the 2 bottles of Marvel Mystery Oil. Still couldn't get it to spin over, so I figured, alright, let's rip off the oil pan. Let's get to it and see what's going on. Oil pan's out. I went on ahead and removed, sorry about the blind there. Went on and removed the timing chain cover as well, because I want to see if the timing chain ripped. Everything looks good, nice good tension. And again, I put the breaker bar on there after 2 bottles of the Marvel Mystery Fluid. So here I am at the bottom. I removed 2 of the end caps here. Here they are for this Chevy. Definitely you don't want to get any dirt on them. I'm sorry about that view. Let me see if I can lean them up. So this one's for piston number 2. And this one's for piston number 3. That wear is definitely normal. I don't see anything excessive. Nothing like gouged or scourged. You know, like you see the brown there. That's oil. I mean, that's just oil running. It's wear and tear. It's got 160,000 miles. So that to me, very good wear. I mean, when I was pulling these suckers off, it'll wiggle a little bit left to right, but nothing up and down. So definitely a lot of bearing left. So I'd say another 60,000 miles out of these bad boys, that's for sure. And then that's when they start walking on you. Unless you don't change your oil regularly or don't add oil at all, then yeah, these suckers are gone. Number 1, piston number 2, piston number 3, and piston number 4 way up in there, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now you guys know how to count. Now, what I went on ahead and did, you can slap it with a hammer and go up. You can slap it with your hand to see if it goes up. If your engine's seized, I mean, you can't even push these suckers up. Let's see if I can do it with my finger. Oh, look. It slides right up. That's my piston up in there. Let me add some more light. Comes back down. I mean, I can back these out. Just my piston goes up. If it's seized, you won't be able to do that. Heck no. But that's piston number 3. So we still got to do piston number 2. Now, like I said, I'll put the end caps back on. I just want to make sure my engine's seized before I'm like, well, the engine doesn't turn. I put the breaker bar. I can't turn the sucker. I got to know, right? This is kind of like my little extra insurance to make sure my engine's seized before I go junkyard hunting for a new engine. Let me see if I can get this all the way up. Look at Try to see my bearing. Come on. Some light. Dude, that bearing looks good. And that piston's going up. Oh, yeah. So that piston's going up. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process of pushing the piston up and down and up and down. I'm going to do the same with this second one. Oh, yeah. I just pushed it with my palm, guys, and it's already up. Let's just hope the bearing doesn't stick to the crank. As you can see the bearing still on there. Oh, yeah. Let me back these out a little bit. The crank journals look very good. I don't see, like, I mean, there's heat here, but then again, your transmission's right here. So the load of the transmission being a 4-cylinder, if you go up and down some hills, mountains, you name it, or you drive a lot, you're gonna get heat sinks. Plus, I mean, oil gets hot. Engines get hot. So you'll see these heat sinks. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's when you drop your pan and you see like complete dark spots, and it smells like burnt oil in there. I mean, it's just a sign for you to keep up maintenance a little bit more sooner. Again, the engine's not spinning, nothing like that, but I know if 2 and 3 are going up and down here, I don't see why I should have a problem if I have 2 unstuck pistons and 2 stuck pistons. With a breaker bar that I have, that 1-inch breaker bar, I should be able to easily turn this engine, unless it's something else, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Again, this is a 1.8 liter Chevy Cruze non-turbo engine that's apparently halfway not seized for now. Okay, guys, so I went on ahead, I mounted back the second and the third piston, and I got a little bit of great news here. So I got the smaller breaker bar on here because I was able to break it loose. Sorry I wasn't able to get it on video. Now the thing is, it's not that it was ever seized. Ugh, got dirt in my face. The reason for this, I unhooked the torque converter. Now, when I was spinning it, I was having such a dandy time trying to get it to turn over. And then I heard a ring pop, I felt like I was touching a valve. And I was looking at the valves, I was rocking it back and forth. I was going from like a 4 o'clock position to a 7 o'clock position, pretty much like this. I was doing this for the longest while, and then I have my kid here, Alonzo. He was helping me out, and we're just looking at the valve train, and we're like, okay, which pistons are turning, and you know, obviously they're all turning. All right, which rocker arms are moving? It's like, okay, all these are moving. Let's look at the seats and make sure, you know, that they're popping right back up. They all had pressure on it, and just a little bit of experience. So with Project SirMalo, before I did the 6.0 LY6 swap, which I have videos of, I did a transmission rebuild so it could handle that engine. Now, the first time I did the rebuild, I still had the 5.3. You know, I had a red line of, I want to say 6,500, somewhere around there, close to 7,000. I was like, I backed it out 500 when I did the rebuild. But, you know, just normal driving, I didn't even ever get to reach the 6,000 RPMs on that rebuild because, you know, I was just trying to break it in nice and smooth. You know, maybe the max was 3,800. That's exaggerating, to be honest with you guys. So what I'm trying to get at is, when I did the rebuild, Alabama torque converter sent me a 3200 stall, 28 to 3200 stall torque converter, and the inner seal shaft of the torque converter, that spline, there's like a bearing in there, that sucker popped. And it did the same noise when I was spinning it. Obviously, it's much more mellow here, but when it did it at my house, it locked up everything. I mean, it locked up the engine, it slowed the engine down, I couldn't turn anymore. And it locked up my rear differential, so I skidded from 25 miles per hour to a 0 mile per hour halt. You know, the moment it reached like 18, 15 miles per hour, it just locked up my rear tires, and my engine just shut off. And it was all because of the torque converter. So in this instance, I was saying, okay, drop Marvel Mystery Oil. I got a seized engine because it came to a halt. You couldn't kick it over. But here we are. You know, Mal invested on the Marvel Mystery Fluid, but hey, that Marvel Mystery Fluid, I checked my caps when I pulled them down. It went right into those caps. You know, so that stuff works. It penetrates very well. You know, that prevents and breaks out rust. So here I am. I have a good engine. It spins right through. We're dropping lubricant into the spark plug holes just to make sure that, you know, I'm not grinding away at the walls right now, because it's good. You know, I don't hear any bits or chunks. Alonso's looking at the valve train to make sure those seats are popping right back up to see if there's pressure, and I could feel it. I could feel it when I'm spinning the engine, you know, right here. So I'm spinning it. Everything seems fluid. I'm just turning it and see how it kicks it really easy, and then there's parts where it's difficult to turn because there is a spring rate tension to it. So here we are. I'm just gonna keep spinning it. I put a lot of lubricant on the torque converter because the flywheel was pretty much grinding on there. So I'm gonna have to bring down the transmission, but I'm gonna look at that torque converter. That's the first thing I'm gonna look into. Since I popped off 2 and 3, I'm gonna torque them down to spec. I'm gonna call the engine good. I'm gonna just clean out my oil pan since I already have it dropped out. Clean that little screen net that shoots in through here. I'll show you here in just a second. But yeah, since I'm here in this position, I'm just gonna take out these CV axles and see if I can, you know, lift up the transmission, back it out of the way. I'll see what's the easiest manner to do all this and get this torque converter out of here, and see if I can order me another one. And I'll shoot that video on another day, and we'll get to the end of this car. Make sure that it gets up and running, because I bench test the starter. Starter was kicking over at AutoZone, just wasn't kicking over here. And yeah, it's not gonna kick over, just like my truck SirMalo, because that torque converter was seized. That's the torque converter that jacked up inside internally. All right, so that's enough talking. I got to get back to work. So do you guys. Maybe this is your problem, the torque converter or transmission. I'm hoping it's the torque converter. It's a lot more inexpensive to replace than the transmission.